Thinking about colour. Turner, the Temeraire and the Turning Tides. St Paul's Cathedral is a Baroque masterpiece, but whenever I cast my eyes across the perfectly sculpted marble faces of the great men whose memorials line its edges, something for me is missing. Colour, at least on the cathedral floor. That's the medievalist in me. I'm more at home in a Gothic edifice, jammed with busy wall paintings, lit by a kaleidoscope of colours filtered through stained glass. Wren's masterpiece and the best-known sculptures that live eternally inside it are from another world, the classical tradition. Here, monuments and the people they represent are perpetuated in white marble, set forever in stone, classicised and idealised. This was, of course, deliberate. When Wren crafted St Paul's Cathedral to rise from the ashes of the Great Fire of London, he was appealing to the tastes of his time. Men of means would go on the grand tour, soaking up the sun-drenched marble remnants of Rome's great empire and mopping up fragments of ancient stone to put on pedestals in their stately homes. As Rome had conquered from Hadrian's Wall to Egypt, Syria to Spain, so the British Empire was casting itself in its image as it spread ever further across the globe. But the whitewashed idealism of these English sculptures fundamentally misunderstood the exemplars they were mirroring. The originals were covered in colour. 2 millennia ago, the marble we see today, that's just the skeleton of the ancient monuments. Instead, it would have been covered with paint. Rosy cheeks picked out in pink, lips in red, costumes decorated in bright shades, and details emphasised in a rainbow of colours. This didn't fit the post-Reformation taste for stripped-back church interiors. The plain marble sculptures of St Paul's were not only a tasteful nod to a misimagined classical past, but also a rejection of Catholic medieval England, a time of superstition, excess, popery and outdated beliefs. The 18th and 19th centuries were a time of reason, where Britannia ruled the waves and the great men of empire were immortalised in pure white stone. So I turned to my favourite monument in St Paul's. Tucked near the door in the south transept is an overly life-sized sculpture of the painter J.M.W. Turner. It was created by Belfast-born sculptor Patrick MacDowell after Turner's death in 1851. The master of colour, Turner looks thoughtfully at the sculptures around him. He leans back, taking in the scene, palette and brushes in hand. Behind his cloak, MacDowell has carved in low relief realistic-looking seaweed, while at his feet is a starfish. Turner stands for eternity on England's shoreline, looking to paint the beauty and colour of the natural world around him. But what he gazes upon instead are monuments to the ocean-faring exploits of Great Britons. Nelson's victory at the Battle of Trafalgar is immortalised in stone, with the hero leaning on a huge anchor. Turner stares directly at another exuberant celebration of naval conquest, his eyeline meeting that of Earl Howe, Admiral of the Fleet until 1799. Britannia, complete with trident, toga and helmet, sits on a ship behind this great master of the seas. Turner is an observer of these men of the past. Like his famous painting, The Fighting Temeraire, his monument captures a moment of change. Celebrated on every £20 note today, Turner's masterpiece shows a steam-powered tug pulling Nelson's redundant tall ship to its retirement. The sun has set on the age of empire. Make way for modernity. So Turner's statue stands forever gazing on a period of English history that has passed. When his sculpture went up in the middle of the 19th century, the glory days of Nelson and Howe were fading. The tide was turning. I think Turner would have been pleased with the positioning of his monument. As he documented the fading of empire in his life, So his sculpture stands on an eternal seafront and remains a witness after his death. But I wonder if he wouldn't have liked a little more colour around him. He was an artist that captured the noise, steam and sound of the Industrial Revolution, and he's remembered as the painter of light. His was a world steeped in colour. His memorial reminds me that every generation rewrites the past in relation to their present. As I look on Turner's monochromatic marble face, I see the vibrancy of his canvases and the colour he filled his life with. Today, ours is a globally connected, high-definition, colour-saturated world. The whitewashed faces of bygone days act as a reminder that we should celebrate the colour, variety and vibrancy around us today.